Hello everyone, it's Penguin Typer here, back with our video, and this is going to be the first episode of my new, podcast-esque style of video called Winds of Change, where I talk about things that need to be changed on Night Stripe drastically and quickly before they get way too out of hand. So yeah, this is going to be super fun. Open up a new tab, start your racing, and listen along, because this is going to be a pretty interesting video to talk about. So the subject is going to be the competitive scene. And this is going to be also a response to Titanium Tendon's video that he put up yesterday, where he talked about why he disliked the competitive scene. So yeah, let's get right into it, boys! So if you guys haven't already seen Titanium Tendon's video, it's called My Issue with Top Teams on Night Stripe. I do recommend that you check it out. He makes a lot of good points, and he makes a lot of good arguments that need to be heard by a lot of people right now. However, one of his biggest things that he dislikes, and probably the topic of the video, was adult captains of top teams, paying children to do races for them. However, it wouldn't be as bad, he claims, if the kids weren't A, hurting their health, B, hurting their sleep schedules, and C, hurting themselves so that they could do all these races for their teams. And yeah, this is a really big problem on the site. I talk to a lot of kids all the time, right? My fan base are kids. I have Discords, right? We talk all the time. And something I hear a lot is a very common line. People usually say things like, "Oh, I don't want to race right now, but I gotta finish my team races." Or, "Oh, I guess I'm just gonna pull an all-nighter so I can do races for my team," and all that stuff, right? That's pretty bad. When kids, want to be doing other things, these are younger kids, like 11 or 12 years old. They want to be doing other things. They want to be going outside, having fun, getting some sleep, right? But instead they're choosing to stay up late and to hurt their health by just doing insane amounts of races so they can get races done for their leaderboard spot and for their team. However, I don't think it's the fault of the captains, as Tendons claims, and here's why. The captains are simply the ones playing the already broken system. If you were in Paul's stream yesterday, you would have heard me rant about this. So, in my opinion, the system is broken. Tendons thinks that captains should be encouraging things like doing less races and not being as competitive and taking breaks frequently. And that's all great. However, there will always be those captains who encourage things like staying up late to do races, pulling all-nighters, hurting your health to do races, right? There's always going to be a captain that does that. You can't change that. I truly believe that you cannot change every single competitive captain's mindset into thinking, "Oh, well, my players need some breaks and stuff." No, there's always going to be someone who thinks that they need no breaks, right? So what needs to be changed is not the people who are playing the system. They're just the smart ones, right? The captains are just the people that know that 11-year-olds can, race 24 hours a day for fake cash online. It's true. It's quite honestly true. The captains are simply the ones that are playing the broken system. What needs to be changed is actually the system itself, because the system is just as broken as the mindset of those who want people to pull all-nighters very frequently for fake races. So, what part of the system is broken, and what part of it needs to be changed? Well, the leaderboard. I hate to say this, but Night Stripe is a company that wants people to be focusing more on improving and practicing than simply grinding for races and cash, right? That's a great thing. That's an amazing job, Night Stripe. We love that. You can see these changes that Night Stripe has made in the past, where they A, removed session achievements for large sessions to promote health, B, removed season rewards so people weren't encouraged to grind that much, and a billion other small changes to the site that encouraged, not grinding. However, something that we have seen just by looking at the Season 28 leaderboard is that as long as there is a leaderboard to grind for, people will grind. This is not an understatement. According to my call, it has been 14 hours since Season 28 started. And you can see Kocho has 1,300 races. this unavoidable dude has 1,200 races. Who was Smoke the YouTuber has 1,100 races. A botter has 800 races. You know, and you keep going down the line, and this is all overnight for most people, right? This is all like from 12 a.m. midnight to like 2 in the afternoon. But most of it's like at midnight, which is insane to think about. So what we can see here is a very simple fact. As long as there is a leaderboard to grind for and teams to compete for, people will go all out. That is not going to change just as much as captains won't promote racing, right? Of course, there are people that don't go all out, and there are captains who don't, promote insane amounts of racing. However, there will always be those people that when they see the leaderboard to grind for, or when they see the free cash from their team for racing, they'll do it, right? Same thing with top teams. A huge competition this season, Syndicate versus Sharks, with Syndicate already taking a massive lead, has people promoting insane amounts of races, like Syndicate's promoting insane amount of racing. However, the reason they're doing that is not just because the captains want races. No, it's because they want to win the season. That's what everyone's competing for in the first place, is the season placements. So, we've identified the problem is that people are wasting their lives, their health, and their sleep, which is not good. I've talked a lot about wasting time with grinding, but that's alright if you want to do that. However, ruining your health and your sleep schedule is very much less okay in my opinion. And if you truly want to ruin your health and your sleep schedule with Nitro Type, you should check your priorities. And if you're addicted to it or attracted to it because of the free cash and the cool cars, right, you should also check your priorities. However, this is not a message to grinders, this is a message to the system and to the Nitro Type admins. We can see that the problem is people are ruining their health and their sleep schedules, two very important things in the average kid's, life, so they can grind for their team and grind for the top sessions and grind for the top races and the leaderboard spots, right? And we have also correctly identified that the reason people want to do this is because A, they are being offered cash to compete, B, most importantly, there is something to compete for, right? It all boils down to the leaderboards, right? I actually considered doing like 100 races a day this season just to help Syndicate out. And I'm not even a grinder. One of the most anti-grinding people on this site, literally offered to grind for Syndicate to help them win the season. If that doesn't show you what I'm talking about here, that's pretty insane. What it says is that anyone who wants to, help their team out or help themselves out, to a nice season placement will grind. Anyone will do it. And it takes a certain amount of self-control to say, no, I'm not going to waste my life. I'm not going to ruin my sleep schedule. I'm not going to hurt my health. However, as long as there is something to compete for, people will compete. That's a very obvious thing we can see from just the current leaderboards, right? There isn't even rewards for the season, which is something that I've talked about in the past. And it's a great step that Nitro Type made a couple years ago. However, there are no season rewards. People aren't competing for the champion title, for the champion team title, right? Nobody cares about that because it doesn't exist. However, what people are competing for is simply their name on a leaderboard. And that's something that needs to be identified and dealt with. Because when you are encouraging people to grind, that is just not how this site wants to operate. I know that a lot of people might disagree with me saying, hey Penguin, grinding's not actually that bad. However, I'm speaking for Nitro Type here. Nitro Type doesn't like people grinding. They've shown that and they've said that. They've shown that by removing the large session achievements and removing the season rewards. It's very obvious they don't like grinding. And, they shouldn't like grinding. And they've said it multiple times in the past. Corndog and Travis both say they want Nitro Type more to be about, practicing and improving than just straight up grinding for races. So if that's your mission statement as a company and as a game, right, you need to figure out that the number one thing attracting kids to this site, to grind and to waste their lives, their time, their like free existence is simply the season leaderboards. And they need to be changed. I know a lot of people might also disagree with me there. However, plenty of things have come to light, right? We got kids complaining about having to do races. Like, you're not obligated. You are not signed into a contract to do races, right? To every kid who grinds out there, you're supposed to play this game to improve. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but it's just how the game works. You're not, chained to a desk having to type 1,500 races until you're dead, right? That's not how the game works. If your team wants you to do 200 races and your hands start hurting at 150, say, hey, my hands are hurting. I'm not doing 200. It's simple enough. But a lot of kids don't understand that. A lot of kids just don't get the fact that, they're not obligated to do these races for their teams. So it's not up to the kids. It can't be up to the kids because a lot of kids just straight up don't have that type of self-control, right? If you put me, when I was 11, if you put me in front of a computer and said you can type for the next 15 hours, I probably would have. However, something that a lot of kids need to understand is that, you're not obligated to do this amount of races. You're not obligated to have to do 500 races a day for your team. It's just straight up true. So, but the problem is, a lot of kids don't know how to realize that. A lot of kids don't know that type of self-control to say, hey, I'm going to get off my computer and I'm going to go outside. A lot of kids don't get that. So it's up to the system to promote anti-grinding. And the way to do that, to remove the entire idea of grinding from the season, is to somehow change the season leaderboards. And this podcast is not called Wins of Removal, right? I'm not asking for Nitrotype to remove anything. I'm asking for change. Change is something that we've heard a lot of in the past couple of weeks with Black Lives Matter and a lot of racism talks and debates. However, change is something that needs to happen in a lot of places, and currently on Nitrotype. There is a large problem on the site, which is people promoting kids hurting their health and hurting their bodies and hurting their sleep to do large amounts of races for pretty much no reason. And that's not okay. Straight up, I'll be real with you here. So something needs to be changed, and I believe that it's the season leaderboard, because the season leaderboard is what's attracting people in the first place. There will always be the captain who says, hey guys, do 300 a day, thanks. There will always be the racers who want to do those races and end up hurting themselves because of it. But what we can change is the season leaderboard. The thing that is straight up hard-coded into the game and run by the admins, right? This could be changed. I've heard a lot of really good ideas floating around from people like experienced grinders and captains like Paul Crowley and Titanium Tendons, people that know the competitive scene. And also from onlookers and general intelligent people. I've heard a couple ideas from Ace Typer. I've came up with some ideas, right? There's plenty of ideas floating around. And it's up to the admins to realize that this is such a big problem and to start thinking of new ideas. Because the season leaderboard has been around for a long time. Right? It's changed, but not that much. It's a pretty consistent thing. However, I do believe that we need something different. Not to remove it, but we need it changed in some way, shape, or form. It's gotta happen. Anyways, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast-esque style of video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe. If you disagreed or agreed with anything I have said in this video, be sure to let me know. If you have an idea for how the leaderboard should be changed, let me know. If you think I'm completely wrong and I should stop talking and delete my channel, let me know. Also, tell me why I'm wrong, because you guys suck at that. I love reading comments and people just say, hey, Penguin, you're wrong. And I'm sitting here like, well, why am I wrong? You're just wrong. Okay. And I want to avoid that. So if we're going to have debates in the comment sections, let's actually back up our arguments with opinions and facts, because facts are important. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening. If you want to see more episodes of Winds of Change, let me know.